Are you guys actually serious? Surely you're not serious. Everybody, get your sweaty, nasty fingers off your keyboards and just take a step back and just realize what the Detroit Lions did this year. Let me just start by saying I'm not telling you guys you have to be like, oh, well, good effort, boys. We'll get it next year. It's okay. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm telling you is that you have to look at what the Lions accomplished this year and understand that we have never in our lives, our fathers in their lives, been able to witness what this football team accomplished this year and how much of a fun-ass ride it was. I know that frustration is in our DNA at this point, right? I think that's a fair assumption to make after 60 plus years. Am I correct? But open your eyes. Use your damn eyeballs. This is not, and get ready for it, here it comes. This is not the same old Lions. This is not that giant mountain of shit. This is not that super Goliath dumpster fire, that slimy, grimy, pathetic excuse for a professional sports franchise. This is not what that is anymore, and you have to believe me. And it shouldn't even be hard to see. Just a handful of seasons ago, we had this man as our head coach, and we had this man as our general manager. Did you forget about them? Because I didn't. Now in just their third season, keep in mind, they inherited the worst franchise in the history of sports. Remember that. In just their third season, they've given us our first division title in 30 years. They've given us our first playoff win in over 30 years, which was the longest active season streak for no playoff wins, by the way. They also broke a streak of 9 consecutive playoff losses. We won 14 games this year, including the playoffs, which is a franchise record. We've never seen that many wins before, guys. None of us have. And because of all that winning, we were able to host a playoff game for the first time in 30 years, which was also an NFL record of not hosting a goddamn playoff game. And guess what? We won that playoff game, which gave us another home playoff game. You guys remember that entire atmosphere at Ford Field, all of Detroit, all of the state? You better remember, because it just fucking happened. This new regime did that. This is not the same old Lions. This is the brand new Lions. And who's at the helm of the ship? Dan Campbell. Everyone's typing away as fast as they can last night, and it's,
oh, what if Dan Campbell, if he would have just had us kick a field goal here, and if he would have just had us kick a field goal there.
Shut up! His play calling is not what lost us the game. Any other day, people want to talk about turnovers being what wins you games or what loses you games. We had a fumble that completely ruined any momentum that we had. We had 2 blunders by our defensive backs that should have been interceptions, but they instead have no hand-eye coordination, so going to catch a ball is like, oh, what am I doing? I'm paid for this? One of which led to a 49ers touchdown, which you want to talk about momentum. Ha! And then we had 2 drop balls that were just unbelievably crucial mistakes. Both of those were really like the nail in the coffin. And on both of those drop passes, those would have been first downs. Our decision making put us into a situation that should have resulted in first downs. You can say, oh,
with the field goals would have won us the game.
No, you fucking moron. You can't know that. You simply can't know that. What we do know is because of Dan's aggressive play calling, his gambling, so you'll say, because of that, the Lions won 14 games this year. We got to the NFC Championship because of Dan's play calling. Without Dan's aggressiveness, without that play calling, the Lions aren't in the NFC Championship. Without that play calling, the Lions are not winning playoff games. Without that play calling, the Lions are not NFC North champions. Without that play calling, you guys would be a whole lot more upset with this season than how you were last night. I'll tell you that right now. You can ask every single player in that locker room. I guarantee you, not a single one says that they'd rather play for another coach. And no, you can tell this is not some bullshit where it's just, a political answer of, oh, yeah, this is the best coach in the world. There's not a single guy I'd rather. No, this is genuine, the way these guys feel for this guy. This is so genuine. I've never seen a coach like this for any of my teams. The Lions didn't have the most talented roster this year, and we still accomplished so much. And that's because this man, Dan Campbell, can get anybody to play to their absolute best ability. There's not another coach in the league that can bring that out of players like Dan can. And again, you ask these players, they'll tell you the same exact thing. I know a lot of you watching this have played sports, right? And I'm sure you guys have had coaches that you've really enjoyed, guys that you've related to, guys that you've been inspired by. And I'm sure you've had coaches that you just absolutely couldn't stand and you didn't want to see day in, day out. And you understand that the coach that you're inspired by is going to get so much more out of you. You're going to see so much more success with that guy as a coach. That is Dan Campbell to the highest degree. We should not want anybody else as our head coach. Because when we're playing teams that just on paper have more talent than us, we know at the end of the day, they're not going to work harder than us. Because Dan Campbell inspires these guys to go through all-out war to get the job done more than anybody else, and I really believe that. Just again, think about the excitement going in this game. Think about all of the Lions hype going in this game, the fandom around the state, the fandom around the country even. None of that happens without Dan Campbell. Again, I'm not saying that you guys don't have a right to be mad about last night. Of course, I'm mad too. We were very close. We didn't get the job done. That's going to bring a lot of emotions out, right? But the audacity to completely turn on Dan, to completely turn on this regime, we don't get to do that. We're not the Patriots. We're not the Chiefs. We're not the Steelers. We're not a franchise that's used to winning. We're not a franchise that demands excellence at all costs, right? We don't get to do that. That is like the utmost snobbiest, just spoiled brat mentality I have ever seen in my life. Again, we are coming from the worst franchise of all time. We are 3 years in to a new regime, and we're in the NFC Championship. We got playoff wins. We got a division title. We got home playoff games. We got people all over the country rooting for the Lions. The real America's team. And you know I'm right. Fuck the Cowboys. Appreciate the fact that we finally have an NFL team that is a legit contender for the Super Bowl. We've never been able to say that. We've never been able to witness it. The last time this team had any relevancy, most of our dads weren't even born yet. So understand how special this is to finally have something that's really worth getting excited for, to finally have a team that we can not lie to ourselves when we say, we have Super Bowl aspirations. That builds excitement going into the offseason more than anything you could possibly have. And I'll leave you with this. I put a tweet out last night after the game when I saw a bunch of you crybabies putting poop all over Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called now. I said, if you're not all in on Dan Campbell, then you deserve Matt Patricia.